Hello there, lovely good evening and welcome to Camnet TV main news. Sincere apologies to you all our viewers for slightly bringing the news late. This was due to circumstances beyond our control. However, here are the news headlines. ECZ denies registering extra voters in selected districts. Dismiss ZALOUMIS, says TONSE. Witchcraft trial commences. In international news, Congolese flee to Burundi from M23 violence. And in sports, NJOVU rejects KAMANGA as first president. Join me for these and many more stories after this break.
Enjoy the benefits of an instant loan with us ranging from 1,000 kwacha to 750,000 kwacha paid express once collateral is viewed, valued and verified. Call us on 0763 595 359 or 0779 432 993. Classified Financial Express, here as your financial friend.
So grateful for your love.
The Healing Word Ministries International presents a Revisiting Our Foundation conference under the theme Revisiting Our Foundation, Breaking Iniquities and Building Legacies. Anointed teachings by Apostle Rodwell and Reverend Rose Simukonda blend timeless truth and modern insights. From Jesus Life Center Apostolic Church in Zambia, Kitwe, a gathering for all ages. Whether you are seeking wisdom, freedom, or fresh purpose, this conference is your divine reset. What to expect? Dynamic worship, from hymns to contemporary praise, ignite your spirit. Prophetic deliverance and healing, break cycles, restore joy, and reclaim your destiny. Why come? Grandparents, pass down legacy of faith. Parents, equip your family for breakthrough. Young adults, youth, discover your purpose in a shifting world. Kids, fun, faith-filled activities, ages 3 to 12 years old. Dates, 20th to 23rd, February 2025. Time, 17:30 hours to 19:30 hours. On the 22nd, we will be having special leadership training from 9 hours to 12:30 hours and 15 hours to 18 hours. Join us this Sunday, the 23rd, for a Rebuild Foundation service from 9 hours to 12 hours. Venue, the Healing Word Ministries International, opposite Hilltop Hospital, Ibex Hill, Kabulonga. Can't attend in person? Join our live stream on Facebook and YouTube. Stay connected. For more information, call or WhatsApp +260 962 965 883. Don't miss this. Bring your family, friends, and neighbors. Let's rebuild foundations where every generation finds hope, healing, and salvation.
Jesus, you are. Now you want to lift your voice, say, you are.
With the Camnet TV main news in detail, I'm Tapelo Joe Smarter. The Lusaka Magistrate Court has commenced the trial of Leonard Piri, 43, from Sinda District, and Justin Chadunde, 42, from Mozambique, who are accused of professing knowledge of witchcraft and possessing charms in an alleged plot to harm President Hakainde Hichilema. The alleged offences took place between November 22 and 23, 2024, and involve claims that the accused exercised supernatural powers to instill fear. The two accused have pleaded not guilty to the charges. Immigration officer George Mwale testified that the suspects were found with ritual items including a live chameleon in a bottle, an animal tail, 14 bottles of suspected pounded charms, and a red cloth. He further alleged that Emmanuel Banda, also known as JJ Banda, had hired the accused for 43.2 million kwacha to use sorcery against the president. Upon his arrest, Chadunde allegedly revealed that he had been recruited by Banda's brother Nelson Banda for the task. The defense, led by legal aid lawyer Agrippa Malando, challenged the prosecution's claims, arguing that there was no evidence proving intent to harm the president. During cross-examination, Mwale admitted that no one had been harmed and that he had never personally seen a traditional leader carrying an animal tail, which he had previously described as unusual. The accused also denied practicing witchcraft but stated that they possessed the items legally. Additional witnesses included security guard Joseph Chisenga, housekeeper Chilufya Stenge, and Vivian Kampalala, who work at apartment 609 in Roma, Lusaka, where the accused had lodged before their arrest. The prosecution maintains that the suspects were engaged in ritual activities, while the defense argues that the charges are based on weak evidence. The case has been adjourned to February 26, 2025 for further trial proceedings. Minister of Information and Media Cornelius Mwetwa says the government's decision to introduce new currency notes was based on expert advice from the financial sector aimed at enhancing security features and preventing counterfeit. Mr. Mwetwa explained that counterfeit currency disrupts economic stability by making it difficult for businesses and individuals to distinguish genuine notes from fake ones. He noted that this can lead to a decline in currency value, contributing to inflation and reducing citizens' purchasing power. He further highlighted that counterfeiting undermines the government's ability to implement effective monetary policies, as the circulation of fake currency distorts the actual money supply. The minister stressed that sustainable economic growth depends on productivity and the value generated by goods and services.
It was necessary, on the advice of experts at the central bank and the financial sector, that we had to perform a change of our banking notes, not the currency itself, but banking notes. The following are some of the reasons why that was important. Number one, to enhance security features of our kwacha. It was a well-established fact that due to rise in technological advancements, even technology to counterfeit the kwacha is improving, and therefore there was an increased incidence of counterfeiting our money to such an extent that by the time it is deemed that this is counterfeit money, it has already gone into circulation, and sometimes those banknotes will remain in circulation, representing a false economic tender or situation. Because when you have money which has been printed from some place, and in Zambia we know which place we normally refer to, Matero. Nothing bad about Matero, but that's what we say. Is Honorable Sampa's constituency. When money has been printed in Matero or any other such place and introduced into the economy using the back door, you are going to run a false economy. You are now going to have more money in circulation which is not tied to the productivity of the economy. And because we don't want to run an economy like the one we saw once upon a time, it was important to do this change so that the security features of our banknotes are improved.
The Ministry of Water Development and Sanitation has expressed concern over persistent sewer blockages and spillages in Charleston Small Market and Chakunkula, attributing the issue to illegal encroachment on the main sewer line by private developers. Minister Colin NJOVU stated that the encroachment has severely disrupted sanitation services, posing a serious risk to public health and the environment, despite multiple interventions by the Lusaka Water and Sanitation Company. Including engagement with civic and community leaders, the problem has remained unresolved. To address the situation, the minister has directed Lusaka Water and Sanitation Company to facilitate a new sewer design and implement the recruiting of approximately 2 kilometers of the affected sewer line. This measure aims to restore effective sanitation services in the area and prevent further disruptions. Mr. NJOVU also issued a strong warning against encroachment on public water and sewer infrastructure, emphasizing that legal action will be taken against violators. He reiterated the government's commitment to protecting public health, the environment, and essential service delivery. Moving on in the news, the Electoral Commission of Zambia, ECZ, has refuted allegations that it is deliberately registering more voters in selected districts across the country. Speaking at a stakeholders engagement meeting, ECZ Director of Operations, Royd Katongo, described the claims as false and unfounded. He clarified that voter registration is being conducted at designated points in 30 districts nationwide, allowing individuals to register at their discretion. Meanwhile, ECZ Chairperson Mwangala ZALOUMIS urged all stakeholders to refrain from engaging in voter buying, emphasizing that such practices undermine the credibility of elections. The Commission reaffirmed its commitment to maintaining a fair and transparent electoral process, ensuring that all eligible citizens have equal access to voter registration services. Details in this report.
The Electoral Commission of Zambia, ECZ, today Tuesday 18th February 2025, held a stakeholders engagement meeting to bring the public to speed about the progress made in the continuous registration of voters exercise and provide a roadmap of the 2026 general elections. The event was graced by civil society organizations, political parties, faith-based organizations, and many other stakeholders. During the meeting, various concerns were raised, of which among them were accusations that the Commission has been deliberately registering more voters in selected districts across the country. In response, Royd Katongo, the Commission's director in charge of electoral operations, dispelled the allegations, stating that the Commission has provided voter registration points in 30 districts across the country, which the public can utilize at their discretion.
In some districts, there are registrations that are more than in other districts. I think we need to categorically dispel that if there is an allegation that the Commission is deliberately getting more from other districts, that is not true. I think we need to categorically dispel that. These centers in all the 30 districts, 3 the province, are open Monday to Friday.
ECZ Chairperson Mwangala ZALOUMIS called on political parties to desist from engaging in voter buying as it discredits the credibility of elections. She noted that the Commission is aware that all political parties in the country are prone to engaging in this vice.
Even the electorates now, they think that, when you are paid money, then you can go and vote. You ask other people, why aren't you going for election? Or the one paying the 20 kwacha or 50 kwacha. The others are giving 100 kwacha. You see? So it's the amounts of money that is being spent in the vote buying.
Meanwhile, Commissioner General Vincent Mukanda urged political parties to desist from perpetrating violence, further urging them to adopt better strategies to effectively campaign.
It is actually sitting in the two toolkit of political parties. So, it doesn't just come about from nowhere, it is actually manufactured by people vying for power. So, for me, it's not about us managing electoral violence. I think we should endeavor to remove political violence or electoral violence in this case from our process.
And ECZ Voter Education Manager Emma Simfokwe provided statistics of the continuous voter registration exercise from 2022 to 2025, in which a steady increase was noted.
The Commission has registered so far from the 30 centers 11,163 new registered voters. And out of these voters, 5,625 are male and 5,538 are female. So this is just a graphical representation in terms of how our registration have actually reflected graphically.
Chanda Mwango for Camnet News in Lusaka.
The Ministry of Water Development and Sanitation says it will penalize and prosecute individuals and entities involved in the pollution of the country's water bodies. Delivering a ministerial statement on the increasing cases of water pollution caused by illegal mining activities, Minister Collins NJOVU expressed concern over the growing environmental impact. He noted that illegal mining in mineral-rich regions, particularly in northwestern, Copperbelt, Wapula, and central provinces, has significantly contributed to the contamination of water resources. The ministry has further announced plans to strengthen legal frameworks, including the Water Resources Act and Environmental Management Act, to ensure stricter compliance and enforcement. Minister NJOVU reaffirmed government's commitment to safeguarding Zambia's water resources from the detrimental effects of mining-related pollution, emphasizing that those found violating environmental regulations will face legal action.
To strengthen compliance monitoring measures to prevent would-be offenders as well as to penalize offenders. We will review the legal framework. A review of the Water Resources Management Act number 21 of 2011 is underway to enhance provisions related to water pollution and increase penalties for violations from the current 100,000 penalty units, which is 40,000 kwacha, or 1 year imprisonment, to above 700,000 penalty units, translating into 280,000 kwacha, or a maximum of 7 years imprisonment or both, which we believe will deter would-be offenders. We will continue mapping and delineating of water resource areas. WAMA has been mapping and delineating water resources areas, including hotspot areas with a high risk of pollution from illegal mining activities in the country. This is meant to enhance the protection status of important and strategic water resources, such as sources of water supply for commercial water utilities. We will develop a water quality information management system to facilitate data storage, data analysis, and reporting on water quality to support evidence-based policy making. We will strengthen the regulatory institutions such as WAMA through increased funding to enable such institutions to engage adequate inspectors and invest in modern and innovative technologies for monitoring pollution and effective compliance and enforcement.
Energy expert Leonard Sepe has urged ZESCO to renegotiate its power purchase agreements to ensure financial sustainability. This follows the financial challenges that the company is facing that have resulted in it making losses. Speaking in an interview with Camnet News, Mr. Sepe emphasized the need for ZESCO to engage independent power producers, IPPs, in restructuring contracts and adjusting price models to align with the company's long-term financial stability. He further advised the power utility to transition from high-cost emergency power to more sustainable and affordable long-term renewable energy resources. Mr. Sepe further called on ZESCO to reduce administrative costs to enhance operational efficiency and improve overall financial performance.
Negotiate power purchase agreements. What ZESCO must consider to do this time around is to engage all the IPPs to restructure contracts and adjust pricing models that will align with financial sustainability. So the shift from high-cost emergency power to more affordable and long-term renewable energy agreements. The other thing that they can do on this point is to introduce performance-based payments to ensure a fair and share compensation. The other thing that ZESCO ought to consider to do if they are to come out from these financial holes is to improve operational efficiency by reducing administrative costs and streamlining operations and cutting all those unnecessary expenses. Because we know if we are to remain in business competitively, there are two basically things that we need to do. That is by producing more and by reducing unnecessary costs. And also invest in modern grid technology to minimize energy losses. And from the interaction with colleagues from ZESCO as well as the marketing publicity which ZESCO has been doing, it's good to note that they are doing this, but we need to do more. And lastly, but not the least, is to strengthen governance as well as transparency. Improve financial as well as accountability by publishing regular reports on revenue as well as the expenditure. Of course, they've been doing this, and we need to do more to encourage them to do more. ZESCO must also establish a clear procurement processes to avoid corruption and financial mismanagement.
Minister of Energy Makozo Chikote has confirmed plans by government to construct a power plant at Nansala Waterfalls in Isoka district. Responding to a question raised by Isoka Member of Parliament Marjorie Nakaponda, Mr. Chikote stated that the project has been awarded to a private developer, Sister Movement, and is currently in the feasibility study phase. He explained that the feasibility study, expected to be completed by the end of the year, will assess key project details including power production capacity and overall costs. The minister further noted that financial constraints have delayed progress. He, however, said that once financial agreements are finalized, specific timelines for project implementation will be established.
It has any plans to construct a hydropower plant at Nansala Falls in Isoka district? If so, when the plans will be implemented? And if there are no such plans, why? Madam Speaker, our response is as follows. Yes, government has plans to construct a hydropower plant at Nansala Falls in Isoka district. The development of the hydropower plant at Nansala was allocated to a private developer in 2021. The developer is currently undertaking studies to highlight the technical and environmental feasibility studies of the project, which will be completed by the end of 2025. The government is providing technical support to the developer in order to expedite the development of the project. Timelines for the completion of the project will be determined once financial close is achieved. Therefore, government will provide the necessary incentives to the developer in order to achieve financial close. Question which is C falls off as government has plans in the response A.
Patriotic Front PF faction president Given Lubinda has called for the dismissal of Electoral Commission of Zambia ECZ chairperson Mwangala ZALOUMIS following the recent conduct of the Electoral Commission in the 3 by-elections held in Petauke, Pambashe and Kawambwa constituencies. Speaking at a media engagement this afternoon, Mr. Lubinda alleges the failure by ECZ to announce the Petauke election result on time shows that the perpetual interference from those in power. He says Mrs. ZALOUMIS and other UPND-aligned individuals at the Commission are not fit to lead such an institution. The President equally emphasized that TONSE Alliance has the privilege of appointing its President candidate, and come 2026, former President Edgar Lungu will be on the ballot as a candidate.
For anyone that cares to follow trends in the holding of elections in our country, it has become an undeniable fact that the ECZ's failure to confirm or announce our victory past midday in Petauke after the voting day is nothing but a political scandal in the history of our country. The Electoral Commission of Zambia refused to announce the numbers in Petauke long after they had finished counting in all polling stations until after midday the following day. From their conduct in Petauke as TONSE, we believe that ECZ facilitated the holding of an election, but its top leadership seemed to have been devastated and seemed to have detested the outcome of the election. This, in our view, is a serious indictment against the overt bias and UPND leading ECZ. It means that we won in Petauke because of the vigilance of the local people who stood up to defend and protect their votes, and not because of the numbers ECZ announced. It also means that in Pambashe, we lost as TONSE Alliance, not because people did not vote for us, but because UPND heavily rigged using different methods. In addition, the efforts of the local people to protect their votes was overpowered by the UPND violence and their rigging machinery in collaboration with the Mwangala ZALOUMIS-led ECZ.
We now go to Western Province, where Provincial Commanding Officer David Chileshe has reaffirmed the enforcement of the annual fishing ban, which runs from December 1st to February 28th, to allow fish stocks to replenish during the peak breeding season. Mr. Chileshe stated that police and fisheries officers will continue conducting patrols throughout the ban period, warning that fishers, traders and transporters found violating the regulations will face legal consequences. He further urged community members to cooperate with law enforcement officers, emphasizing that authorities will not tolerate any form of lawlessness. Meanwhile, some Mongu Central marketeers have expressed concerns over the manner in which fisheries and police officers conduct operations during the enforcement of the ban. Details in this report.
Some marketeers operating at Mongu Central Market in Mongu District, Western Province, have expressed their concerns towards the behavior of the combined team of fisheries and the Zambian police officers on tear gassing at the public places. This came right after some officers tear gassed at Mongu Central Market during their operation to disperse some fish traders who became violent to officers during this period of fish ban. Speaking to Camnet reporter in Mungo, one of the marketeers, Adons Charlie, expressed displeasure on the conduct of officers.
Fisheries department this kind of gassing is very unfair with gunshots. So are we going to live in a gun culture? At this time of the era, we live in a gun culture. And then we are going to stand up and say, Silencing of Zambia, proud and free. Are we free? We are not proud and free. We are being molested day in, day out.
Other marketeers echoed similar concerns, stating that the tear gassing always affects even innocent people, especially the young ones.
Bafishari kingi abata kuto vyama bintu byambili byale bebeza kuli banana nyoba huluka fera baba affected mateni ndefaka office chava ngomo wana uwelezya nani mbakwana chero mbeleka wabona wo kumbeleka wo chwani kakuli abata kwano baswana kubatisa wale kisalita pibao kufita kuposa kafera matiaga simutu kaofela ape fa kuliluinge machwe mukale kuba posa kamachwe kutula posa kono bona kibona wamula baswanyala kwezangi kubatisa isike kutamwa sichaba mokuwenza matiagas.
Western Province Police Division Commanding Officer David Treshe says police and fisheries officers will continue with patrols during this fish ban, and those found abrogating the fish ban will face the full length of law.
It is against the law to throw stones or to impede officers in any way who are carrying out their mandate as promulgated by the law. We would like to inform the public that as long as the residents of Mongu throw stones at our officers, they should not complain about being gassed because officers are trying to maintain law and order. It is the law. It is our duty. It is the duty of the Fisheries Department to ensure that the fish ban is imposed, to ensure that we have enough fish stocks in our rivers and lakes. On members of the public to cooperate with the law enforcement agencies, the Fisheries Department, the Zambia Police and the local authority. When they are carrying out their mandate, let us cooperate.
Musio Kabila, Camnet News in Mungo District, Western Province.
The Zambia Defense Force today joined 140 militaries worldwide in commemorating the International Day of Military Sports, an annual event dedicated to promoting unity, fitness and discipline among armed forces personnel. Speaking on behalf of Zambia Air Force, ZAF Commander Lieutenant General Oscar Nyoni, Vice Chief of Training Colonel Chikom Kelabai, reaffirmed the Defense Force's commitment to national sports development. He emphasized the importance of maintaining a physically fit fighting force while contributing to sporting excellence at the national level. He also urged participants to uphold good sportsmanship and fair play during the games. Zambia National Service ZNS Commander Lieutenant General Maliti Solochi highlighted the event's role in preparing military teams for regional and international tournaments. He stressed that discipline is a fundamental pillar of military service and sports serve as an essential tool for instilling this virtue. The event, held under the global theme Friendship Through Sport, featured various sporting activities across different Defense Force branches. The commemoration underscored the Defense Force's dedication to physical fitness, teamwork, and fostering strong relationships through sports, both locally and internationally. And that particular news item brings us to the end of this edition of Local News. But join us for international and sports news when we come back. Do stay tuned.
potatoes, the unsung heroes of flavor. From crispy chips to creamy mash, potatoes are the versatile superstars of your kitchen. Grown with love by our dedicated workforce drawn from around the community of Palabana. Savenda Farms' commitment is to see to it that we have potatoes that are grown right, healthy, big and tasty. For that quick fix or big celebration or that meal that brings family together, top chefs rely on the Savenda potato to create culinary masterpieces. And for others, it's that icebreaker to a delightful conversation. So, embrace the magic of Savenda potatoes. They're not just a side dish, they're the heart and soul of your kitchen. Savenda, save nations, develop Africa.
From time immemorial, we have had different types of lighting options, from those that can burn down our investments in minutes to those that dig holes in our pockets due to constant replacement and huge consumption of our ZESCO units. Savenda Electric introduces the new and advanced electric bulb with cutting-edge technology of LED that has low power consumption, gives out bright white light, and lasts up to 25,000 hours. Savenda Electric manufactures all types of LED light, like plastic LED fluorescent tubes, down lights, ceiling lights, outdoor fittings, and solar street lights made to customer specifications. Let's live on the bright side of life by choosing the wide range of Savenda electric lighting solutions that are available in all leading stores and supermarkets countrywide. For orders, call 0962 642 490 or email jnbunda@savenda.com or pchabula@savenda.com.
Water is life. Each drop counts and each must be cherished. Our tried and tested product meets all international standards. With our smart drip technology, we aim to deliver precision irrigation designed to reduce blockage and wastage, ensuring a high yield. Renglow, your smart irrigation partner.
Thank you so much for still staying with us. And now in international news. In Burundi, an influx of Congolese individuals continues as they seek refuge from the advancing M23. Since the end of last week, the Burundian government has reported around 10,000 Congolese refugees on its territory, according to Interior Minister Martin Neterese. He stated that Burundi has already welcomed approximately 10,000 people fleeing from the neighboring DRC. The same ministry noted that these refugees are either crossing through the official Gatumba border or making clandestine crossings via the Rusizi River. Currently, they are gathered in transit sites, including one in Gihanga, located in the Bubanza province in the west of the country. Burundi shares a border with the DRC, and since the M23's assault on various towns and areas in South Kivu province, it has become a refugee for thousands of Congolese. More in this report.
This is the mosque that Mohsen Hendricks founded in Cape Town, South Africa. On Saturday, Hendricks, who was regarded as the first openly gay Muslim imam, was shot dead by gunmen while visiting another city. His killing has shocked the country, with many calling it an assassination because of his teachings.
From my perspective, this is definitely a religious instigated hate crime. Because he preached and stood for an unpopular Islamic message, and he called for a new way of interpreting the Quran that is inclusive and compassionate, and that was his understanding of God.
Police have not established a motive for the killing, but political parties and LGBTQ+ organizations say Hendricks was targeted because he started a mosque in Cape Town for gay Muslims.
This was a cold-blooded murder which needs to be condemned unequivocally without putting any conditions to the condemnation. The authorities, we call upon the authorities to ensure that justice is served, but also very importantly, the discourse and networks of extremism And intolerance and bigotry needs to be broken down in South Africa.
South Africa's laws allow same-sex relations, but the country's gay community still report discrimination and violence.
In Burundi, an influx of Congolese individuals continue as they seek refuge from the advancing M23. Since the end of last week, the Burundian government has reported around 10,000 Congolese refugees on its territory, according to Interior Minister Martin Interetse. Burundi has already welcomed approximately 10,000 people fleeing from the neighboring Democratic Republic of Congo. The same ministry noted that these refugees are either crossing through the official Gatumba border or making clandestine crossing via the Rusizi River. Conditions there are extremely poor, with overcrowding being a significant issue. They have received some mattresses for sleeping, but they report suffering from hunger. This situation is concerning for the Burundian government, which has pledged to work with its partners to find a solution. On Friday, Burundi briefly closed its borders with the Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo to stem the flow of refugees. Since this is an unforeseen situation, Burundi is collaborating with the UNHCR to ensure that the challenges arising from hosting these fleeing neighbors are addressed appropriately. Burundi shares a border with the Democratic Republic of Congo, and since the M23 rebels' assault on various towns and areas in South Kivu province, it has become a refuge for thousands of Congolese.
Britain doubles aid.
The United Nations says Sudan's humanitarian situation remains critical, with fighting driving destruction and displacement. The spokesperson for the UN chief said clashes in the North Darfur state have trapped thousands in an area already experiencing famine.
And just to give you a bit more of a dive in the rather depressing humanitarian situation in Sudan, which remains extremely worrying. We are especially deeply concerned about the impact of violence on civilians in and around Zamzam displacement camp in Al-Fashir, the capital of North Darfur. Following the escalation of hostilities in Zamzam over the past week, about 5,500 people were displaced and sought safety and shelter in Shamal Jabal Mara locality in central Darfur.
Paramilitary fighters have besieged the city of El Fasher, capital of North Darfur, for nearly a year in an attempt to capture it from government forces.
And finally, in sports news this evening, first presidential aspirant Alex NJOVU has rejected the announcement of Andrew Kamanga as the duly elected president of the Football Association of Zambia, FAZ. On February 17, 2025, Mr. Kamanga was re-elected unopposed. However, Mr. NJOVU has described the election process as flawed. Speaking in an interview with Camnet News, he questioned the validity of the outcome, arguing that his and his colleagues' nominations were initially deemed valid. Mr. NJOVU has vowed to seek legal redress, stating that he and his team will challenge the process in court. He maintains that the election should have been competitive rather than allowing Mr. Kamanga to retain the presidency unopposed. He further accused the FAZ Electoral Committee of conducting the election behind closed doors, alleging that the process lacked transparency and fairness.
This is bad for football. This is very wrong. What they did, we reject the decision by the Elections Committee of FAZ declaring Mr. Kamanga as the first president who has gone through unopposed. We reject that in the first place. We'd like to tell our supporters, councillors throughout the country, remain calm. The next course of action, if nothing is done, We are ready to sit on the table. We are calling for fresh nominations. It cannot happen where Mr. Kamanga goes through and opposed alone, because the 8 of us qualify. All our nominations were valid, were validated by FAS. They should have rejected them when we are presenting them to them. But they even signed that indeed these are valid. But why rejecting them now when they sat behind the scenes? So we are calling for fresh nominations. If not, we are going to court to seek redress, which we don't want, because our football will suffer, but we have no choice, because we've been pushed to the corner at this point. Because Munaide stood as first president last year against Mr. Kamanga. Today has been thrown out. I stood as Lusaka province chairman. Well, how do I get disqualified now? There is a lot of playing and dribbling around. So this will not end well. We've rejected the announcement by a very senior man, by a man I respect, Mr. Ronald Atongo, that Mr. Andrew Kamanga is our president. For me and many others, and speak on behalf of 8 other candidates, Mr. Andrew Kamanga is not our first president. We've rejected him on behalf of many councillors. He is not our first president. He cannot go and challenge. We are there. For me, it's not like about life and death. If Godfrey Chikumbi is allowed to challenge Kamanga, it's fine. If Munaire, Ikashala, if Keith member of Witi Champande, they're allowed, it's fine with me. I can even stay back. But as it is now, we've all rejected the decision by the electoral committee to anoint Kamanga as the president.
And that particular sports item brings us to the end of today's edition of Camnet Main News. But before we go, a quick recap of stories that made headlines. Electoral Commission of Zambia denies registering extra voters in selected districts. Dismiss ZALOUMIS charges TONSE. Witchcraft trial commences. In international news, Congolese flee to Burundi from M23 violence. In sports, NJOVU rejects Kamanga as first president. We now look at the Camnet verse for the day, coming from the book of John, chapter 1, verse 35. It reads, Jesus wept. We end the reading and we end the main news. On behalf of the entire production team, dear viewer, do remember that Camnet TV is not just another channel. I'm Tapelo Joe Smarter. Good evening and God bless.
Enjoy the benefits of an instant loan with us ranging from 1,000 kwacha to 750,000 kwacha paid express once collateral is viewed, valued and verified. Call us on 0763 595 359 or 0779 432 993. Classified Financial Express, here as your financial friend.
From time immemorial, we have had different types of lighting options, from those that can burn down our investments in minutes to those that dig holes in our pockets due to constant replacement and huge consumption of our ZESCO units. Savenda Electric introduces the new and advanced electric bulb with cutting-edge technology of LED that has low power consumption, gives out bright white light, and lasts up to 25,000 hours. Savenda Electric manufactures all types of LED light, like plastic